A lot of you have been asking, how does this actually affect me? And well, I'm going to tell you how it affects you, as well as answering as many questions as I can, and also explaining just why we're doing M-rated games right after this. Yes, COPPA is going off the rails again, and literally anyone can be impacted by it because of YouTube's misunderstanding of U.S. law. And some asked, well, how have you been around so long with this going on? It's like, well, I don't know. I did rebrand my channel completely, and I removed any type of family-friendly or anything that could be interpreted as made for kids out of my tags, which seriously impacted our searchability. And then, of course, a year after that, then we got hacked, and, well, that was the end of this channel, basically, in terms of searchability and all that other stuff. But I don't normally have a lot of problems with COPPA. The only reason that I started talking about this again is because of what's been going on, I would say, for the past probably 4 weeks now. And a lot of smaller channels reached out. One big channel reached out and asked to be anonymous, but it's a person that does like action figure oriented stuff. And he had some of his videos hit, and he was just like, do you have any advice about it? And it's like, I really don't, because, I mean, if you go to the FTC's website, they're very adamant about, like, they see toys as MFK. And there's really nothing you can do about that. With video games, I mean, we have a gray area because they even say on their website that all cartoons can't be considered MFK, whereas on YouTube's thing it says bright colors and cartoons are considered MFK. So you have two clashing forces. It's kind of like, imagine COPPA and YouTube, like the two towers in Lord of the Rings. And, you know, the two towers are competing with each other, but the one that created the law is essentially the White Wizard. And then the one who's misinterpreting the law is the other tower, but both of them are clashing. And YouTube is terrified over the aspect of being sued again, which they have been sued by the FTC. And actually right now, TikTok is being sued by the FTC, I believe, because they're in violations of COPPA all over the place. You can still be on YouTube and earn a living. It's just you don't really want to do a lot of the viral things that YouTube suggests. I had to erase one comment that I can't show you guys because I used a lot of vulgarity. But they said, you know, it's kind of crazy that if you actually would take the time to use the right amount of thumbnails, you have the knowledge and blah, 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 blah. But it's like you're doing everything wrong in terms of like how you present your channel. And it's like, well, I know there are a lot of channels that use very bright colors and they use thumbnails that are supposed to bring out more of a general audience or to appeal to younger audiences, and we can't do that. It's against the law. Even on the FTC's website, it asks people to not purposely target children unless you're willing to, you know, suffer the penalties of the COPPA law. And unfortunately, there's a lot of YouTubers that are family-friendly channels and gaming channels in general that even for M-rated content, they literally target kids. And they're 100% guilty of that. When the hammer will come down, I have no idea. I'm not a psychic. You know, if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So someday, you know, those YouTubers might find themselves, you know, in a lawsuit of $50,000 per violation. So that could be a maximum of $500,000. Some of these creators have it, but still, I wouldn't want to gamble like that. So we rebranded ourselves to appeal more to gamers. Now, in the beginning, we always appealed to gamers, but, you know, my wife was a graphic designer, still is, and she went out of her way to make amazing viral thumbnails, and her Disney Infinity and Skylanders and all those thumbnails, even Transformer stuff, they all went viral because she was a graphic artist. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at that. All I'm good at is using multiple overlays and making things darker, and it doesn't look like it's very marketing friendly, because, you know, when you compare our channel to other channels, and even if we weren't shadow banned, I guarantee you we wouldn't get as many views based on the darker images and colors that we use, because we are actually trying to target older people. That's our whole thing. Another person said, is there anything I can do to protect myself against kids on YouTube? No, there's nothing you can really do. In fact, the FTC even encourages people not to remove younger audiences from your brand because it's going to hurt your business in the long run. Unfortunately, Ember and I didn't listen to that lesson, and if we find out a user is, under 13, we ban them until they're the age of 13. They could be gone for several years from the channel. It doesn't matter. As soon as a content creator learns the age of the person watching and they're underage, by law, whether you like the person or not, you have to remove them from your channel. But I mean, if you want to uphold U.S. law, and no matter where you are in the world, YouTube is a U.S. company, so you have to abide by the COPPA regulations. That was another question. It's like, I'm a content creator and I live in Europe. Am I affected by this? Yes. And the only reason we even discussed it is because we had a T-rated game, several T-rated games hit with MFK. And I had a parent reach out to us, and they were very disappointed with us covering M-rated games. They've been a longtime supporter, and we lost a pretty big member, so that hurt. But I still stand by what we're doing with M-rated content, and I just want to ease some people's concerns, because I know this is in the back of some of your guys' heads, like what's going on with the whole M-rated focus. The channel's not focusing on M-rated content. Basically, what you have to view, a YouTube channel is kind of like a television network. Think of like NBC, ABC, Fox, whatever. Fox has programming that's appropriate for kids, Fox has programming that's appropriate for teens, and Fox has programming that's targeting adults. So basically, our YouTube channel is that. It is a television channel, in a sense. And the different content that you see on the TV is graded by rating, whether it's Y7 or teen or, adult or whatever. Same thing applies on this channel. What we'll be doing is, if we are doing a lot more mature content, I'm not saying we will, I'm not saying we won't, but we'll make sure to put the rated M in the thumbnail. As well as in the description, it does say it's rated mature or it's not for kids. T-rated games is always going to be the focus of this channel. We've been doing T-rated games since the very beginning of this channel. And if people are like, oh, you're just shifting away from, E-rated stuff so that you don't get in trouble, it's like, actually, we've always incorporated E and T-rated games since this channel's inception. So I know it's very hard to find our content because we're shadow banned and there's like 15,000 videos, but we organized some of our playlists by year. And in fact, if you go to our channel, like our front page, you'll see like 2020 or 2022 through 2019. There's a huge list of like these playlists that we can't edit or remove, but you can see the variety of content that's in each of the following years. What this channel does is it looks at brand new games on release day. That can be T-rated, that can be E-rated, and sometimes it will be M-rated. We missed out on a lot of really high-profile M-rated games this year because of our stance of like trying to keep things, we'll say general audience, but we're actually shifting to be more mixed audience. And that's actually a legal wording by the FTC, because they don't really talk about general audience. Not so much anymore. In fact, on their website, they even say mixed audience. What is a mixed audience? Mixed audience is a channel that features content that's for all demographics, so E, T, and M. And that's what our focus is going to be going forward. And it's sad that family-friendly channels have to, in order to survive, that they need to, kind of go out of their comfort zone and things that they actually enjoy doing. I mean, I personally love E-rated games because E-rated games is for everyone. When I was a kid, video games had a rating of kids to adults. That meant the content that is in this game is okay and appropriate for everyone to play. It doesn't have anything offensive or anything that would need a T or M rating. And that's essentially how the FTC looks at things, is they view the rating, and now YouTube sees an E rating or a T rating and they think made for kids. And that's a problem. So somehow content creators, we need to band together and we need to get them to ratify their misunderstanding of COPPA, because on their website that talks about this, they're still using the old version, which is from 2019, and they haven't even updated to what COPPA updated to in 2023. Like, they're still using their 2019 everything on there, and that's how they're viewing content that's literally being made right now on the platform, and that's a problem. So, I know that there are good people working at YouTube. I know there's bad people. I know that there are intelligent, and I know that there are lazy people. But the most important thing is, don't want them to throw their content creators under the bus, because it's not right. They jeopardized thousands of family-friendly channels in 2019, and there's not even that many family-friendly channels anymore. There's maybe a handful left, and some of the ones that are left, they do a lot of really bizarre stuff too, because you got to do what you got to do to survive on this platform. And, you know, I haven't really been worried about COPPA in 4 years because I already took the steps to protect ourselves. And everything seemed to be fine. And then all of a sudden, much to my surprise, we had YouTube hitting a bunch of our videos, including T-rated. And that's why, you know, I leaped into action. I'm not the type of YouTuber that just sits back and waits and sees, you know, if the bomb's going to go off. I anticipate that the bomb is going to go off and I take action. And if I was a channel that's in the search engine and very easy to find, you know, this first video would have done a lot better because what I said is true. You know, my words had impact. They had meaning. People were able to understand what I was talking about. But, you know, because we're hidden from the world pretty much, we're kind of like, how do I explain this? Kind of like a secret to everyone, or like a very unknown but really cool like gaming store that only people who live in that town know about. No one else, you know, anywhere knows about them because they have terrible marketing or something like that. But the people that know them, they're awesome. And that's KwingsLetsPlays in a nutshell. Some people are asking me advice like, hey, Kwing, how can I protect my channel? In all honesty, I mean, that's your call. I would recommend making sure that your thumbnails are targeting teens and older people, and that you shy away from as much bright colors as possible. If you are doing like an E-rated game and the official art looks like really bright, you know, turn down the saturation, multiply it, overlay it, whatever you can do to, you know, darken the overall color, because I promise you it'll help. Now, keep in mind, doing this is going to wreck your chances in the search engine because you won't compete with all those other people, but at the same time, you might not get a $50,000 fine, and the other person might. So, I mean, it's an even trade-off. You know, this isn't the Wild West days of YouTube anymore. You never know what's going to happen. I also would be very careful with how you title videos. I think that the reason some of my shorts got hit is because I used very simple wording like "they lie" or, you know, "uh-oh, this looks like trouble." I'm going to need to learn how to, when I write short titles, especially for Lego games and other things, I'm going to have to make sure that the language is very wordy, or maybe I'll have to do innuendo jokes. I don't know. Keeping it very simple and more general audience and, you know, family friendly got me hit with MFK stuff. So, I mean, I'm going to have to figure out that stuff. But I've never really been good at titles anyway. But I just want to reaffirm to our sponsors and things like that, we are not going to change the way that we present content. I know that people have this misconception because we're doing M-rated games now. Amber and I are going to talk about, you know, husband and wife private matters, or be doing things that people are not accustomed to us doing. And as I've proven with the game I'm currently playing, Ghost of Tsushima, I'm still myself. I still have the same puns. I have the, you know, same style of doing commentary. The only difference is now there's blood splatter when, you know, I lop off somebody's head or stab them and, you know, they squirt everywhere like it's a Mel Brooks Dracula movie. That's the only difference. I mean, maybe the humor is a little bit darker because the game is darker, but you can rest assured that, you know, if you are a parent, that the content is still going to remain PG in terms of commentary and discussion and topics. But the games will be, you know, sometimes like Ghost of Tsushima or Devil May Cry or something like that. Because, you know, we have to do what we can survive. Unless somebody really wants to write us a check for $7,000, so we don't have to worry about it month to month. I would gladly work for anybody who does that. One last question people had, like, well, why don't you just go to Rumble? Well, Rumble's not really going to work because Rumble, too, will be impacted by COPPA eventually. As I said earlier, TikTok is in the process of a massive lawsuit between TikTok and the FTC. Now, because TikTok is located in China, it's going to be a lot harder to, you know, get them sued the way that YouTube was, because YouTube was a U.S. corporation. So FTC has jurisdiction, of course, of U.S. corporations. And the only reason I'm really sticking my neck out for a lot of this, too, is because I'm a husband that needs to provide for his family. And if YouTube takes away our ability, like they took away hundreds, if not probably thousands of YouTuber channels over the past 4 years, for people that were, I considered, wholesome content creators. They never had any drama. They never had any problems. They made good content. They had a wonderful fan base. And YouTube took all that away like a Thanos snap. And a lot of these content creators that were wrongfully, accused of this stuff and losing their channel and getting erased and things like that. I mean, the one that was at fault was YouTube. They're the ones that misunderstood the law. So my hope is that somehow from all this noise is that YouTube will end up ratifying their COPPA bill, because they need to. It's so outdated. The fact that FTC constantly updates their website on COPPA guidelines and, adds little amendments such as like seeing not all cartoon characters as cartoons for kids, which is a huge win for anybody, because basically the FTC, even those government dum-dums, is acknowledging that anime and adult animation is a thing. They just don't word it like that because it's all legal language. YouTube doesn't have anything like that. Literally, it says they go after channels that have cartoons, toys, bright colors. But steps that I would take as a content creator: if you have someone in your community that's under the age of 13, ban them. If you're using colorful thumbnails and using like very high profile cartoon characters that are super expressive, stop doing it. Will you go viral anymore? Probably not. But if you have a huge fan base and you're getting notifications, you'll probably still do pretty well, that you don't have to risk your entire livelihood and channel you've been building up for probably a decade or more, because eventually your sins will catch up to you. I also would stop playing any type of early childhood stuff, whether it's a joke or not. Do not play Dora. Do not play Thomas the Train or whatever he's called. Don't do Blue's Clues. Don't do Sesame Street. Don't do Muppet Babies. Don't do any type of Mario games where there's counting involved, like Mario teaches to count or Mario teaches to read. Those are violations of COPPA. It's not that Mario himself is a violation. Mario is general audience. He's a global brand. But just because you have a global icon doesn't mean you can get away with playing a video game that is targeting 4-year-olds with numbers and letters, like Mario teaches typing or Mario teaches this. Anything with Mario teaches, I would avoid like the plague. Even if you use anime characters, you want to make sure the anime characters are not looking cutesy. If you are using an anime character like we do, our characters are over the age of 18, and they look older. They don't look like it's an MFK, super deformed anime character, doing cute expressions, because anime is not something that I would mistake for MFK. AI anime and VTuber channels need to be careful too. You don't want to try to present yourself as being like MFK. So if you're targeting adults, then you need to make sure that your avatar is, trying to get the right audience. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the previous video and sharing it like wildfire. That's the best way in order to get a video seen for us, so the old ways are best. We really appreciate you guys. And hopefully this video will be helpful as well. All right. I don't plan on doing content farming and keep going over this topic, but if anybody has any questions about COPPA and things like that, redirect them to this video, okay? All right, people. I'll see you guys live later today with something else. God bless. Happy gaming. Thanks for watching.